Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. We have a great show for you today, as we have a former NFL punter in studio who is working with football prospects in an effort to help them get scholarships and invites to pro camps. We will introduce you to a local coach who spearheads an organization that gives kids in North St. Louis a chance to get off the streets through wrestling and faith. Plus, Angela Sharp and myself were on the scene for the St. Louis Cardinals 2018 opening day, which had a little twist this year. So we've got all this and much more coming up next on Inside Sports. Our first guest today has a passion for helping underprivileged kids in North St. Louis through organizations titled House of Zadok and the Zadok Wrestling Club. At this time, we welcome the head wrestling coach at Clyde Miller Career Academy, Dr. Ron Nisbet. Ron, thank you so much for joining us here today on Inside Sports. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, Todd.
So 1 year under the belt now at Clyde Miller. You've taken over the wrestling program, and you had some great success this year, didn't you? How's it feel to get that first year out of the way?
We did, and it didn't go without a lot of stress in it in some way, shape, or form, but it is a learning experience for all of us, myself, the wrestlers, the school, but it feels great. It was probably the most rewarding wrestling season of my career.
Now, you actually took one of your wrestlers all the way to the state tournament this year, and that's a pretty big accomplishment because you've got to go through just the regular season, and you've got the postseason meets and things like that. How did that all unfold? And tell us about the young wrestler over at Clyde Miller that's so exciting.
Yeah, and we had more challenges than that just because we started late than every other program due to the late letting go of the previous regime and then my hiring. Dayon worked extremely hard. He was a senior. He'd actually gone to state as a freshman and a sophomore. Didn't have a lot of success at state. As a junior, he got sidetracked a little bit, and then as a senior, he came back and he just really worked hard. He overcame a lot of adversity through our district tournament, lost a match that he knew he should have won, and pushed through the mental toughness that wrestling brings about. He pushed through that, and we made it up to the state tournament in Columbia, where he did really well.
Fantastic. So what was Dayon's last name? I want to get it out there.
It's Partlow.
Dayon Partlow, okay. And I know we were talking earlier about that being one of the harder, his weight class was one there was a lot of great competition in.
Correct. There were 6 returning medalists, not all at 132 pounds, but six wrestlers at 132 in Class 2 had medaled the year before, as well as a freshman who in one of the ranking systems was ranked #1 in the weight class going into the state tournament. So there's definitely some tough competition going on in there.
Now, you were a wrestler in high school here in the St. Louis area and in college. I think you were at Brentwood.
Correct.
In high school, and then you wrestled at Merrimack in college. And then I guess wrestling kind of went by the wayside for a while, and you went to Logan College and became a chiropractor. And you've got a chiropractic practice in West St. Louis County. Can you tell us a little bit about how you went to Logan College and ended up being a chiropractor?
It's a crazy story. I start off, I was actually doing heating and cooling for a while. I was in a car accident that required me to have a couple surgeries. I changed my profession. I went into the chiropractic field. Being from St. Louis, Logan was a natural fit for me. And I just loved how chiropractors helps athletes perform better on the field. So I thought it was a great fit for me to maybe get back into athletics to a point. No intention of the wrestling thing happening, but it just kind of happened.
Now, you ended up in another school as an assistant coach in St. Louis County for a while as well. Can you discuss that?
Yes. 5.5 years ago, my wife saw an ad for an assistant wrestling coach at Westminster Christian Academy. She kind of got on me a little bit, and I finally went in and applied for the job. I was given it. I was there for 4 years. As we started our ministry, as my time became less and less available, I was going to resign from that position and start working just more on our ministry downtown, and then lo and behold, I actually became a head coach on accident.
Wow, so we're going to get to that in a minute, but I did want to talk about I guess the positive advantages of being a chiropractor and a wrestling coach, because everybody knows a lot of pro teams right now, college teams, are using chiropractors on staff because it helps for recovery and different things, body motions. Can you maybe give us a little insight about how a chiropractor on staff can really help out a student athlete in recovery and and in general? Right.
So sports in general is tough on the body, and it takes its toll. Stresses just kill us each and every day. As chiropractors, I tell people we really don't fix a whole lot of anything. We just put your body, give it that ability to deal with the stress that it's under, and whether it's shoulders or knees. Sometimes they just come slightly out of joint, and we put them back. We adjust the bone, whether it's in the knee, the shoulder, or the spine. We allow it to go back to where it's supposed to do, allow proper nerve flow, and then allow the athlete to perform better. It allows them to understand where their body is in space, something that they don't recognize themselves, but something that just happens.
So how hard was it for you to leave not leave, but spend so much time away from your practice to give back, to come down to the city to take this job? Because you probably had to take a little bit of a pay cut, and put some of your chiropractic duties on the side during the wrestling season. But is it worth it?
It was absolutely worth it, and that's why I know that I'm definitely going to be back. The decision was tough for me. I spent a lot of time in prayer, asked lots of people to pray for me. I never got a definitive answer other than 3 or 4 people the last week before the job interview say, sometimes you just got to step out in faith and trust that God's got your back. And so I just did that. And it, we as a family, we've had some struggles, but every step of the way, God's provided for us, and we're working on building the practice back up. But yeah, the majority of my business is in the afternoons. As a head wrestling coach, I can't be there in the afternoon, so I would work from 7 to noon and then leave. And
you're kind of juggling it all, huh?
Yeah, that's what we did.
Let's discuss your organization, House of Zadok. I know that comes from a biblical term, and it's pretty neat because you're a wrestling coach, a chiropractor, and you have a lot of faith. What is House of Zadok all about, and how can people get involved?
So my wife got us helping out down in North St. Louis, a smaller ministry, a little over 5 years ago, and as we started collecting more and more donations, and some of them becoming actually really nice things, people wanted tax write-offs, so we had to form a nonprofit. So we've been doing it 5 years. We help families with furniture, beds. When we started it, and my wife's like, we gotta go pick up this mattress. I'm like, why are we getting so many mattresses? I never really thought about it, but I mean, they're kids sleeping on floors or on dirty laundry, so they have something soft. So we're collecting, we collect mattresses that are, gently used and still in good shape. But furniture, kitchen utensils, toiletries, laundry soap, all these things that so many of us take for granted. We don't do a lot of food, but we take food down there too. But it's just a way to give back and help, give people some hope.
Now you've got a spinoff now, the House of Wrestling Zadok, or Zadok Wrestling. It's kind of a spinoff, and that's a new thing. I know it's coming up very recently, very soon. What are some of the things you can tell us about the Zadok Wrestling and some of the needs that you guys need, to help these kids out?
Okay, so as we were helping families out, I noticed that a lot of the people, we're not really going to be able to. We can give them hope and make them feel good when they step inside their home. But if we really wanted to make a difference in a community and a generation, we had to start with young kids. And basically it led me back to the wrestling program. So we realized we wanted to start what we call the Zadok Wrestling Club. And so we spent a lot of time looking for a facility. We've been blessed. Flint Fowler of the Herbert Hoover's Boys Club has given us access to a facility. Our next step is that we need to get wrestling mats. We'll kind of take anything, but right now I prefer lightweight mats, because if you want to try to roll up a big old heavy mat with 6-year-old kids, that's going to be a very time consuming and tedious thing, and try to put them away. So lightweight mats are definitely the best option for us. They go, a brand new one's going to cost probably around $5,000 to $6,000. just a generic thing. And so mats, shoes, warm-up kind of stuff. The mats are the biggest expense with the wrestling program. Once you start there,
the mats kind of flows down from there. And wrestling seems like it would instill discipline and toughness and all that neat stuff that you really need growing up. A lot of these kids don't have a father figure, and you are that father figure for them. Before we let you go, Dr. Ron, can you give us some information on if someone wants to help donate some money or some old mats or wrestling equipment to their Zadok Wrestling Club?
Absolutely. Right now, the best way is either you can email me, houseofzadok@gmail.com. You can look up our Facebook page. Just type in House of Zadok and you'll see the local branch. Or we also have a Zadok Wrestling Club Facebook page, and message me through that. So those are all different ways that you can get a hold of us. And if you forget any of those, I guess they can contact you and you can put them in touch with me.
How about that? Thank you so much, Dr. Ron. Congratulations and thank you for what you're doing.
No, thank you. It's a privilege.
Appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break now, but stick around because when we return, we'll talk to a former NFL punter, David Brainerd. We'll be right back.
Over 13 million people are affected by famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Make a simple text donation of $10.
But do more than donate. Forward the facts.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Our next guest was a dominating three-sport athlete at Webster Groves High School. But after injuries derailed his career as a punter, he decided to team up with some talented NFL players to conduct football camps specifically designed for specialists. At this time, we welcome David Brainerd to Inside Sports. David, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Come, appreciate it. Now, back in the day in high school, you were pretty good. Three-sport athlete, and I know in 1996, your basketball team had a pretty special season, didn't it?
We did. Tate Decker, Johnny Parker, Spencer Taylor, Dan Wacker, Sam Snelling. Went to state, first championship in Webster Groves history. Obviously now back-to-back, so it's a timely. But yeah, it was a fun ride. Lost 3 games.
The whole season.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, you're naming some pretty big names right there, but you didn't really say yourself. I guess it's just implied that you're.
Well, you know, the average of 2.2 points a game, but 4.5 fouls.
4.5 fouls. That was kind of like when I played PBA.
That's what I was there for. That's what I was there for.
So you're in there to bang around a little bit and
Absolutely.
kind of like, mess up some of their good shooters and bang them around a little bit.
Just stir the flow a little bit.
Stir the flow a little bit. Well, you went on to, you're going to go. Looked like you wanted to play a little college football there. You had a look at Illinois. You had some big looks out there. And
So-
how did that unveil?
Yeah, so recruited by Illinois and a lot of other smaller schools as a tight end, D end, but wasn't really where my passion was. My passion was baseball, and I was going to have the opportunity to go to Missouri State to play baseball. So coupling that with a potential to walk on and play football, it's like I could go there and play
It's a
2
no-brainer,
sports.
right?
Yeah, and dislocated my left ankle Memorial Day weekend of my senior year, and kind of threw it all for a loop. Ended up at Missouri State, and the rest, kind of as I say, is history. Ended up punting. Left there after my first year, transferred to Lindenwood. Played there 2 years, graduated, and ended up pursuing the football thing after that.
Yes, you did Lindenwood for a little while. I mean, Lindenwood, that's a great campus over there. I broadcasted some basketball games there. Recently, Webster Groves being one of them. And great facilities out there. Why didn't you want to stick around Lindenwood? You just got tired of it?
Well, I graduated early.
Okay.
I wanted to focus on education, and so that's what I did. Quit playing to go because of student teaching, and then ended up through a baseball workout of all things, ended up having another opportunity to go play football. But I don't blame Lindenwood for what I left. I mean, it was kind of the time with what it was. Now it's an unbelievable program.
Oh, yeah.
And the new head coach out there, Jed Stugart, unbelievable. I was just out there this morning for spring practice.
Okay.
Guy's unbelievable.
So you went from Lindenwood, then you were on a traveling baseball team for a while with some pretty big names.
Yeah, that was high school.
Oh, that was high school.
Yeah, but there's some Dennis Tankersley is probably one of the bigger names, although I didn't play at the same time he was there. But St. Louis pros, there's a field off of River de Pere, Fultz Field, the Greens, and it's still named after him. The guy was a legend.
Wow. So you end up leaving Lindenwood, you're going out, you're doing your thing in the business world. All of a sudden, there's opportunities for you to punt, and all of a sudden you're getting some looks in some NFL camps. How'd this all come about?
So going back to that baseball workout, the Atlanta Braves had one of those one-day regional workouts, and Steve Ortmeyer happened to be there. Steve Ortmeyer was a GM with the Rams, with old school Rams.
Yeah. And
saw me punt a football. He said, "Son, you
were you just goofing around?"
Yeah. Somebody had one. You know how Nolan Ryan used to warm up with a football. So this kid had a football out there, and I just punted it back to him and hit a few punts while these guys were catching them. And Steve Ortmeyer pulls me aside afterwards. He said, "Son, you have a talent. You need to pursue this a little bit." Turned me on to a couple guys who ran some camps nationally, and led me to a camp out in Reno, Nevada, where Hank Kuhlman, who was a special teams coach for the Arizona Cardinals forever, ended up coming up to me, asked me one question: "Did you win or lose?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" Turns out he was a Webster graduate. He was asking about the Turkey Day game. So go into the whole 1-2 loss 2. He said, "We won all 4," but handed me his card and said, "Call me. I liked what I saw," and ended up bringing me in 02 and 04 to kick in the offseason to some return guys, and that led to signing with Jacksonville in 05.
So you signed with Jacksonville, and things were looking bright, and then you hit another bump in the road.
Yeah, career-ending injury, ended up being a double hernia. And you think from punting, how does that happen? But just a lot of overuse. You're swinging your leg, you're pulling with your hip flexor and groin, and you just get fatigued. And they would probably now have called it a sports hernia and recovered from that a little bit quicker, but it went kind of a little longer on the diagnosis.
Well, I mean, look at Jadeveon Clowney. It cost him his first year as a pro for the Texans, and I mean that's a serious injury because I mean it's your core. It affects every movement that you use with your arms and legs. I would think.
Oh, it absolutely does. And I mean, I could not. I've had 7 knee surgeries on my left knee. I've had 4 on my right. All of those could not come back from the hernia.
So have you seen any chiropractors or anything about those injuries?
I actually have, and I do think that they play a vital role in getting your body back into where it should be, but that was too far gone.
Now, since your playing days ended abruptly, you've kind of started to give back to the community. You've found a way, and some individuals in St. Louis that you saw some talent in. And there's a bartender at Barcelona that I know. And he's made his way into some NFL camps and has a possible future in the NFL as well.
Yeah, he's Carl Schmitz, one of the most unbelievable athletes I've ever seen. Hands down, just a natural athlete, and can also punt the ball really, really well. He's only problem, he's going on 31, I think, but he still has interest from some NFL teams. So as long as he can get an opportunity and kick off well when he's there, he should sign. I mean, there's no question he should be in the NFL.
I mean, it seemed like last year he had a really good chance of signing with the Denver Broncos, and they had a punter, was it Colquitt, that was like making a lot of money, so it would have seemed like cap friendly to bring a guy in like that. Yeah. And he just kind of missed the cut.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened there, and then he had a really good opportunity right after that in Tampa Bay, and if he had one ball going left that he could take back and either have not punted that one or just accidentally gone right, he would have been in the NFL.
So right now you're working with some serious names from the NFL. I know Louis Aguiar, a couple other guys. You've teamed up with them. It's been 4 or 5 years now, and you're running these specialist camps for kids that they're not passing, receiving, catching balls, or running.
Right.
Tell us about the specialist camp.
So as you know, Elite Football Academy in St. Louis, they're skill-specific coaching. Well, there was nobody coaching skill-specific positions such as long snapper, punter, and kicker. So partnering with those guys, Louis Aguiar, Mike Husted, Mike Hollis, Mitch Palmer, Justin Snow, we started coaching specifically specialists. And so we've been doing that in St. Louis now for the last 10 years and have had a pretty good history of the guys that we've sent through Elite Special Teams Academy on to college. Not that it's all us. I mean, obviously they have to work at it. But we've had some unbelievable talent come out of St. Louis. And when you think about it, it's a pretty natural fit. A lot of these kids grew up playing soccer. They've got a good foot, but they're a little bit bigger kid. They end up going to play football, but when the coach says who can kick, a couple guys raise their hand, and all of a sudden, like Neil Rackers, he's also part of our staff, raise their hand and say, well, I can kick too. And it turns out to be a career for them.
Wow, that's amazing. And I know you've got a very important showcase coming up for specialist-specific long snappers, kickers, and punters. It would make sense because during the other camps, these guys, they're not getting much work, so it's a brilliant idea. Tell us about your showcase coming up.
So similar to 7-on-7, throughout the summer, there are high schools and colleges that run these 7-on-7 programs. And it's great, and you can highlight your receivers, your running backs, you can highlight your D-backs, your safeties, but what is your punter and kicker and long snapper? What are they doing? They're sitting on the sideline, not doing anything. So what we've designed is the All-Metro Elite Specialist Showcase Series. So any specialist from any school metro area, long snapper, kicker, punter, has an opportunity to come in and showcase their skill. And all of that's recorded, provided for college coaches, NCAA coaches, where they can come in, they can access the stats, and now they have a place to showcase their ability.
If someone wants to get involved with this, what do they have to do? How much is it, and what do they get?
So info@snapkickpunt.com or snapkickpunt.com, $75 per session. That pays for the charting if they want to have that charted on the national level. If they don't want to have that go to the national level, they want to keep it all just locally, it's free.
Wow. Well, David, thanks again for coming into Inside Sports today, and congratulations on your success. And thank you for doing this, because I know you're doing it on your own time. You're not getting paid to do this, so it must feel good to give back to the community, and we really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, we appreciate it. Well, right now we're going to head downtown, where I caught up with the fan frenzy Cardinal baseball fans know as opening day. That's what the atmosphere is like here in downtown St. Louis on opening day 2018. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the home opener for the St. Louis Cardinals in 2018. I'm Todd Blackstock with the lovely and talented Stacy Static.
Hey, what's going on? It's opening day. It's so lit.
It is opening day. We're having a great time down here, and this place is rocking.
I know. I love covering this event because it's a sea of red and it's a party all day long. So what does it mean to you to be a Cardinals baseball fan?
Well, I tell you what, it's pretty humble to be a Cardinal baseball fan, because we are the best fans in baseball, and we have a great team. We've won 11 World Series. We've done some great off-season acquisitions. Marcell Ozuna, the Cardinals just signed a prominent closer, Greg Holland, so things are looking up. And right now, we're going to go out in the field and check out all the great fans on opening day. All right, David, you having a good time on opening day?
Yes.
What's your favorite thing about the Cardinals?
That they have Yadi Molina on their team.
Yeah, who's your all-time favorite Cardinal player?
Yadi Molina.
Why him?
I don't know. I just think he's really cool. That's why I like him.
All right, opening day.
Yeah.
It's like a national holiday.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's not a national holiday. It's a St. Louis holiday.
I can't either.
This is the best thing ever. We come down here every year. It's like, can you believe how many people are here? Oh my God.
Stacy, do you know how much money the Cardinals generate during the baseball season?
I have no idea, but if I was making an educated guess, I'd say about 7 million.
7 million. I say it's a lot more than that.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe the fans would know.
We're going to talk to the fans right now. So how much money do you think you spend on opening day as far as tickets, driving, hotels, souvenirs, and food and drinks?
Actually, I have my buddy do all the paying. I just come along for the ride.
Charlie, how much money do you spend when you come down to opening day?
Well, I got a good deal today, but normally it'd probably be a good $100 anyway, between parking and refreshments and just enjoying the day. It's, but I don't mind. It's a fun day.
All right, what about tickets?
Well, I was beneficiary of a free ticket today, but when I come, I like to have a nice seat, so I'll spend what it takes.
So it seems like it's great for the local economy, a big day like this in the city.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And St. Louis, the Cardinal organization does it right. It's a lot of fun.
All right, thanks a lot. Joining us now is John Sanders. John is the Senior Vice President of Sales for the Gabriel Group. And John, opening day every year is such a great experience in St. Louis. And I tell you what, there's a lot of money spent down here at the stadium and in and around the area of the city, all the different bars and restaurants, parking lots. So what do you think about the economic impact of St. Louis on opening day?
Well, it's huge. I mean, you see a sea of red, and I think a sea of green. I mean, everybody's having a great time. Mother Nature cooperated. It's really a national holiday in the city of St. Louis. I tell my friends across the country, you got to be here to believe it. I tell you, it's got to be, I would say, an average probably $150. I mean, once you get eating and having some drinks, maybe buying a souvenir, parking. It's always a premium this time at opening day, but nobody seems to complain. They all enjoy it, and they find a way to make it happen.
$50, $60 to park. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's a little rich. There's no question about it. I remember the old days when it was $2 to get into the bleachers, and you parked for 50 cents somewhere. But you find a way to make it happen and do it within your budget. But the main thing is you make some golden moments. And a lot of times I see people down here with their kids and their grandkids and their friends, all ages. And something about opening day makes everybody feel young, and it's a fresh start.
How much money do you think you spend on an opening day or a normal person would coming down here with parking, tickets, and eating and drinking?
Well, that's a tough question. I live downtown, so I can walk to the game. That's free. We can grab a drink downtown. You go to the local spots, you know where to get beer a little bit cheaper, but if you're coming in from out of town, I'd say tickets, beer, parking, we're looking at a couple hundred maybe. But it's well worth it to be all around Cardinal Nation right here on opening day.
All right, how about a Go Cards?
Go Cards!
Well, you know what? It's opening day, and I'm super excited because I'm joined by that one guy, Todd Thomas. You're like the super hype man, Mr. Cardinal.
Super hype man, yeah. Opening day is unbelievable in this weather. I mean, it's amazing.
Did the gods not just smile upon us with this day?
They are, and then they're going to dump some snow on us tomorrow night, but nobody cares about that today.
So, Todd, you're the baseball expert here. What can you tell me about the Cardinals this year? How are they going to play?
I think they're going to be pretty good. They've got a new pitching coach, Mike Maddox. I think he's going to do an outstanding job. One thing I'm really excited about is Jose Oquendo is back as the third base coach, because the Cardinals last year, they had some problems with, routine ground balls and, just fundamental baseball. And I really think that the Cardinals this year are going to be more fundamentally sound. Plus, they've got that big bat with Marcell Ozuna and the closer, Greg Holland. So we'll see how it goes. Plus, the Cardinals have a core group of excellent players. They've got a lot of minor league players like Harrison Bader that are up right now. They're going to be coming back and forth all season long. So I think it's going to be fun.
And of course, the fans.
All right, Stacey, it seems like the Cardinal fans think that we're going to have a pretty good team this season.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I think that Molina is really going to kill it because he's off to a great start. But you know what else? I want to know from the fans who their favorite Cardinals player of all time is and why. All right, you guys, it's opening day, and I just need to know, who is your all-time Cardinals player and why? Favorite.
My favorite Cardinal player, oh Lord, Willie McGee.
And why?
Why? Because he represents St. Louis so well. I mean, his skill and everything. I mean, what a great outfielder and just a person in general.
And we're with Jim Delaney, and Jim's a big Cardinal fan for all these years. Jim, who's your favorite Cardinal player of all time and why?
He was from Omaha, Nebraska. Do you know who that is?
I think I do, and I think they're celebrating him today.
Number 45.
Yeah?
He was a badass player.
Yeah, what's his name?
Even to this day, I love the story. His name was Bob Gibson.
Oh my gosh, they're all. I am not biased. I want them all.
You can't choose one?
I'll go with Molina.
Go with Molina. We love Yadier Molina. So you know what? It's opening day. Super exciting. Let's go Cardinals!
That's our show for today. Thanks for watching Inside Sports. We'll see you next time.